All right, happy Thursday, everybody. Welcome to Survive to Thrive. So excited that you're here. We are going to pick up from a conversation we were having on Tuesday in reference to mindset and skill set. So, quick review. 90% of success is mindset. Yeah, I agree with that, by the way. So, as I shared with you on Tuesday, mindset is important. I don't know if it's 90%, but let's just say mindset is super important to success. Here's the challenge with that. Most people think that all I got to do is have the right mindset and I'm going to be successful. So that is 100% wrong. It's like baking a cake with 90% of the ingredients and thinking the cake is still going to taste awesome. It's not. It's going to suck. And your real estate business is very similar. So 90% mindset without the 10% skill set is still going to lead to either failure or a very average real estate business. I want you to focus on the skill set. Now, we got through 4 of the 15 different skill sets that you're going to focus on. I'm picking up at number 5 today, recognizing opportunity and closing for a listing appointment. So when you work like a farmer, think like a hunter. You recognize opportunity, and the moment you recognize opportunity, it's time to become a hunter. You are going to transition to. If I'm being too aggressive, please forgive me. However, if you were to hire a professional like me, you would want to hire an aggressive agent, wouldn't you? And it sounds to me like you might be thinking it's time to list your home with a professional like me. If I could show you how I could sell your home for more money in less time, would you be interested in seeing how I could do that? All right, we're not going to spend a whole lot of time on that because I've done that a lot with you guys. Moving on. Number 6, creating CMAs and mastering pricing strategies. This is probably one of the most important things you're going to do in a shifting real estate market. And everybody is in a shift. And some of you have been in a shifting market, like all my friends in Austin, Texas, for a long time. And some of you are just now starting to see this. Emma was sharing with me, Emma's one of my coaching clients in North Carolina, that they had 34 expired listings the other day. They've never had 34 expired listings. Number 4 was best practices for follow-up. Okay, so let me say that again. Every market is shifting. You may not be seeing it yet, but it's coming. And the more I speak with real estate agents across the country, the more it feels to me like we're living 2008 to 2012 again. Now, I'm not saying that to scare anybody, certainly not trying to create drama, but I'd rather be prepared for that than not prepared for that. And what does that mean? Well, to me, it's an opportunity market. So for me, it's not necessarily a bad thing because the harder the market, the more sellers especially need real estate agents who know what they're doing. The more sellers especially understand how important it is to know what absorption ratios are, to understand what percentage of the active inventory is going on under contract every 30 days. In 2006, prior to the last shift, we were as high as about 50% of the active inventory would go under contract every 30 days. Can you guys imagine that? That's crazy. In less than a year, it went to 5%. 5%. We went from active listings on average about 10 because we'd list 10 and sell 8. It was hard to keep inventory. They were selling so fast. And in less than a year, we went from an average inventory, we being the Dietstein, Monica and I, average inventory of 10 active listings to 70 active listings. That's what it took in order to hit our monthly goals for the number of properties that we wanted to put under contract. So it's important that you understand what impact this has on selling homes. So when you're doing a CMA, I believe that the best CMAs are bring everything that's sold. Don't leave any stones unturned. One of the mistakes that real estate agents make is they only bring comparable listings to the listing appointment And then what happens is the seller is going to say something like, well, what about a property around the street that just sold for 700,000? You don't have that in your list. You don't have it, so you can't speak to it. You can't tell them, well, I didn't bring it because it's 1,000 square foot larger than your home or 1,000 square foot smaller than your home. But when you bring every listing, you're not leaving any stones unturned. So bring every single property that's sold in the last 6 months, whether it's comparable or not. Go into the tax records and look to see if there was anything that was sold off market. So you have that as well. Don't be caught off guard sitting at that listing table. Then when you're sitting down with the sellers, have a conversation with them, explain to them how we're going to price their property. We're going to use the same data that an appraiser would use in order to appraise their property. If an appraiser would not use a comparable property because it's too small or too big, then we're not going to use it either. And we're looking for homes that are most like our subject property. And I'm not taking the average of the last 3 homes that sold. I'm not taking the average price per square foot. Big mistake, by the way. I am looking for evidence to fight for the highest price. That's all I need. I need evidence to fight for the highest price. Now, the other thing that I want to do is I want to make sure that I'm doing a supply and demand analysis. I'm not going to go deep in that today either, because that's a total another entire 30-minute Survive to Thrive class, and it's all over YouTube, so you can find it. But you need to be able to explain to them we've got 4 months of inventory for homes in your price range within a 2 to 3 mile radius. That's your competition, which means there's 24 homes for sale and 6 are selling every 30 days. Now, in order for your home to sell, you got to be one of the 6. In order to be one of the 6, you got to be top 25% in presentation, bottom 25% in price. You have to be able to make an observation, forecast, art of persuasion. All right, number 7, delivering consultative listing presentations to buyers and sellers. Don't sell and tell. That's what all the other real estate agents are doing. You have 3 questions that you need to answer for that seller or for that buyer. And the questions they're asking themselves are, can I trust you? Do you care about me? Can you help me? And you're going to convey, I care about you and you can trust me by having a consultative conversation with them. It's the reason in the 14-point listing presentation, we start out with, my mission is to meet your goals and exceed your expectation. Now, because of that mission statement, whenever I meet with a potential client, Debbie, one of 3 things typically happens. One of those things will happen today. Either they understand and appreciate the benefits that I have to offer and they hire me, which is awesome. Or they don't hire me, which quite honestly isn't so awesome. And the third thing that occasionally happens is I may choose to turn down the opportunity. Now, the reason I would turn down the opportunity is if I feel that a seller has a goal or an expectation that I'm not going to be able to meet or exceed. I would rather turn the opportunity down today than let you down 6 months from now. All right, let's go back to the question. The question is, do you care about me and can I trust you? You're starting the appointment out by telling them it's okay if you don't hire me. You're also starting out by saying, I may not take your listing. In other words, I'm not here just to list your house and put a sign in the yard. I'm not going to tell you anything you want to hear just to put a sign in your front yard. There's other real estate agents that will do that because they need your listing. The good news for you is I don't need your listing. Now, I want to work for you, and that's why I'm here. But you see, if I needed to list your home, I'd tell you anything you wanted to hear, just to put a sign in your front yard. Now, if I were to do that, can you trust me? Do I care about you? Of course I don't. The only thing I care about is putting a sign in your front yard, because when I put a sign in your front yard, my phone's going to start ringing. Those are going to be buyers. I'm going to sell homes. I'm just not going to sell your home. That's a win-lose. By the way, you're the one that lost. You care about me. Can I trust you? Can you help me? You're having consultative conversations. You're not selling and telling. All right. Number 8, overcoming objections. Every time you hear an objection, you should write it down. For the first 5 years I was in real estate, I carried a notebook with me everywhere I went. Still do, but this was an objection notebook. And all I did was write objections in it, Karen. And every time I wrote an objection, I would write down 3 responses to that objection. Then I would PDR, practice, drill, rehearse the responses to that objection so that I had internalized them at such a high level. The road to mastery is unconscious incompetence, which means I don't know what I'm doing, and I don't know that I don't know what I'm doing. By the way, there's a lot of real estate agents in that group. It's dangerous. All right, we go from that to conscious incompetence, which is, okay, I don't know what I'm doing and I need to get help so I know how to do it. And then we get to conscious competence, where you start to understand, you start to get it, but you haven't mastered it yet. Mastery is unconscious competence, where it's just in you. You've got it at such a high level. When you're hearing that objection, Karen, you can actively listen to what they're saying because you've already got the response. You know, matter of fact, you have 3 responses, and you're just going to choose which one works best for this person. So be a master at overcoming objections. Number 9, mastering 3 simple strategies, 3 simple closing strategies, simple and direct. Are you ready to get started? That's mine. At the end of my listing presentation, are you ready to get started? That's it. Now, I could use a 1 to 10 on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being you don't like a thing I said and you can't wait for me to leave, and 10 being I'm the right agent for the job. Now, let me take a detour here real quick. Recognize all of the embedded commands, NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. When you're watching the recording, listen to all of the embedded commands, okay? So I'm the right agent for the job. It's an embedded command. I'm the right agent for the job, Andre. So on a scale of 1 to 10, Joe, 1 being you don't like a thing I said and you can't wait for me to leave, and 10 being I'm the right agent for the job, where are we at? Now, if you get an 8 or a 9, you're doing good. If you get a 7, if you get less than a 7, pack your bags and leave because you're out. Now, ideally, you're getting 8 or 9. And then the follow-up question is, what would it take for us to be a 10 today? What would it take for me to be a 10 today? What would it take for you to hire me today? And listen to what they say. Guess what you're going to hear? You're going to hear the objection. You're going to hear objections. Go back to number 8. What are your responses that you've PDR'd, that you're ready to go with, based on you mastering those responses? When you've overcome the objection, the next question is, where are we now? Where are we now? Oh, you're at 10. Are you ready to get started? All right. The third, and this is the one that I would use least often, is the alternative of choice. So for example, an alternative, boy, I have a hard time with that word. An alternative of choice closing, Mindy, would be, would you like the photographer to come out and take photographs on Monday, or would Tuesday be better for you? You could use it. I don't love it, but it's there. All right, number 10, study an activity and feedback and making adjustments. Boy, this is big. So when the home goes on the market, you want 3 to 4 showings a week. If you don't get at least 3 showings a week, the market's talking to you and the market's telling you you're overpriced. After 10 showings, you should get an offer. If you've had 10 showings with no offers, the market's talking to you and it's telling you that you're overpriced. Also, pay attention to how many people are looking at the property online and choosing not to go look at it in person. And you got to use those words. You got to tell them, Michelle, in the last week, there's 1,000 people who looked at your home online who chose not to come see it in person. Why do you think that is? It's presentation and price, guys. That's it. It's the only 2 reasons they would choose not to come look at it: presentation and price. So you have to get really good at studying activity and interpreting feedback in order to make adjustments. An adjustment is simply getting back on track. An adjustment is simply setting your GPS to get to a destination, understanding that you got off track and getting back on track. That's all it is. It should not be a big deal. All right. Number 12, asking harm's way questions. Loss aversion teaches us that people are more motivated by avoiding loss than they are by going towards gain. So when you're helping people make new decisions based on new information, you want to ask harm's way questions. You know, my biggest concern for you is not that you're home, not that you're going to get less money than you want. My biggest concern for you is that we're going to be having the same conversation 6 months from now, and your home's going to be worth less. If you knew that was the case, how would you feel about that? If prices go down 10, 20%, can you still afford to sell your home? What if choosing to price it too high today means you're still in your home a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, 4 years from now, because you can no longer afford to sell your home? How do you feel about that? By the way, feel is emotion. Logic makes us think, emotion makes us act. So we're bringing emotion into the conversation. 13, perspective. Perspective is huge. You need to help people have the right perspective. Next time a seller says to you, I don't want to give my home away. That's interesting. How long have you lived in your home? How much did you pay for it 10 years ago? So let's see, you paid $250, you're selling it for $500, but you're unhappy because you want $550 and you feel like you're giving your home away. You know, to me, your home's doubled in value. If you were buying a stock today and you knew it was going to double in value over the next 5 years, 10 years, would you buy it? 100% every day. Well, you're selling that stock. It just happens to be your house. So tell me why you're giving your home away. So it's a paradigm shift that we're helping them have simply by focusing on perspective. All right, 14 is negotiating offers. 15 is service first, sales second. And that's a wrap. Raise your hand to talk to me. Joanne, your hand never went down, so I'm coming back to you. I don't know.
Yes.
Okay.
So the when you said bring all of your comps,
Yeah.
and what I started doing, not everyone might have the hotspot, but I bring my computer with me and I create a file ahead of time so that I can bring things up on my computer. That way I'm not printing everything on the planet. And that's been really helpful.
Love that idea. Love that idea. Thank you. Okay, Sean and Megan, you're on deck.
When I do my analysis, I do the majority of comps, maybe not all of them, but a lot of them as my first run, and then I reduce it down. One other thing, the mastery part of it, there is a movie, some of you might know it. It's called Enter the Dragon, and it's a Bruce Lee movie. But the beginning is exactly what you talked about. He talks about, with his mentor, mastery of the art of fighting. And so it's exactly what you described, just in a manner of fighting. So they say something unconsciously, you already know. You already, it just comes out. You don't have to think about it.
That's right.
I'll send you the videos. Maybe play it tomorrow, next week.
Oh, that's 100% right. That's right. So number 4, or guys, I'm sorry, I'm multitasking, which I'm awful at. Number 4 was best practices. Somebody else asked, you know what? I'm going to stop doing this. Sean, or Matthew Kemps, you're up.
Going to best practices, it's the Todd Bailey trick. I've been doing it for about 7 months now, and I am 100% on listings taken from listing appointments, is delivering flowers when I drop off my listing box.
Love that. Love that.
Yeah, if I could jump in, Todd delivers the listing agreement and flowers 2 to 3 days before the listing appointment. So they have time to review it, look at it, enjoy the flowers, and then ask any questions once the listing appointment starts.
Sometimes I'll add on that. Sometimes we don't have 2 to 3 days. I just make sure it's a minimum of 24 hours.
So I'll give you a way to plus that super quick here. if you are delivering pre-list information with flowers or any other kind of gift, get their work address and have a company deliver it for you. The coworkers are going to ask, "What's that?" And what do you think they're going to say? "This is from my real estate agent." "Really? What's their name?" "Okay, you got it." Andre, talk to me.
Yeah, good afternoon. Oh, good morning. Actually, when I wanted to know when you bring all the comps, do you actually do like in a CMA where you break everything down, do the square footage, bedrooms, and the reductions? Or what I've been doing for many years is just bringing a one-liner with square footage, bedroom, bath, all this with each one that's sold. And I do exactly what you're saying. I bring a lot. And I'll even go 12 months back. That's one question. I might have missed best practice number 1, 2, and 3. I was off. I missed a day because had a couple appointments. And number 1, 2, and 3, I'm just curious what those were.
Scripts and dialogues, lead generation, closing for the appointment. By the way, it's on video, which is on YouTube. So go to my YouTube channel and watch the video from Tuesday.
Will do. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Number 15 today, everybody, was service first, sales second. The other number that I'm looking at, you guys are looking for, is 10, which is studying activity and feedback and making adjustments. I think that's it. Sean, you're up and we're out.
I just wanted to say to Andre, I send both because I think with couples, one of them is going to be like, well, whatever Sean said, they don't really want to dig through the information, but the other one's going to be, is going to want to know exactly how you got to that number. So I do, in short,
it's
just the highlights. And
I agree with that. I mean, totally. I always make sure that I include, and I always, when I'm working with buyers, I tell them from the beginning, I don't like to just bring one. I need to see the couple together because you got to listen to the wife. You got to listen to the husband because their views are always different. So, and then you put it together.
I'm so sorry I didn't answer your question. I don't know how I did that. Okay, so I am going to bring the actual listings with me. I like Joanne's idea. That way we're not killing trees. But I will go in and highlight, and it's going to take me a couple hours to prepare for the appointment. And I will read the public remarks and the realtor remarks. I'll look at the photographs because I'm looking for details that are going to help me know how comparable this property is to this property. All right.
That makes sense. I mean,
okay.
I don't mind.
I don't do averages. All I'm looking for is I want to find the best 2 properties that sold and the best 2 properties that are currently for sale. When I say best, I mean closest to your home.
Not comparable, right?
Comparable. And that's what I'm going to base pricing on just to start the conversation. Then we're going to get into a strategic pricing conversation, which is based on supply and demand and where we need to be in order to beat the competition. Now, don't also keep in mind that if you're looking at 5-6 months of inventory or more, you also have to take into consideration you're going to need to price ahead of the market in order to sell that home. So it's not based on what's the best strategy to get your home sold today. It's what's the best strategy 30 days from now. What is that? That's where you need to be in order to get your home sold. I'm going to give my home away. 6 months from now, I call you and I tell you that your home is now worth $50,000 less than what you paid for it. Did you give it away? That goes back to perspective, guys, which is number 13. All right, we are way over time. So I'm going to let you guys run. Make it a great day, everybody.
Have a great day. Thanks.
Yeah, tomorrow.
Thanks, John.
Thanks, John. Good day, everyone.
My pleasure.